Hey there everybody, I've been meaning to speak about this film for a long time, and it's the 2012 documentary film Searching for Sugar Man. This film won the Academy Award for Best Documentary Feature in 2013, and it also won a BAFTA at the British Awards, and it also won for Best Documentary Feature as well. It was directed by Malik Bendjelloul, who's a Swedish filmmaker, and this was his first feature film. The film charts the story of Sixto Rodriguez, or just plainly Rodriguez, a Detroit musician, singer-songwriter, and he worked with some top producers who recognised his talent, and he recorded some great songs, and his music basically went unnoticed in the USA especially, and somehow his music reached South Africa, where he was absolutely huge. People talk about him being bigger than Elvis, bigger than Bob Dylan, bigger than the Rolling Stones, and he was unaware of this success as well. And this film, and nobody knew where Rodriguez went. I mean, he apparently shot himself on stage. Apparently he set himself on fire. All they knew was that he was gone, he was long dead. And this documentary charts the story of two South Africans from Cape Town. One guy called Sugar, whose nickname was Sugar, and a South African journalist, and it's all about their investigation to find out who Rodriguez was, where he came from. And this tells a story about them and their investigation, how they went to try and find them. This movie was really moving and pretty wonderful, and at the time when I first watched it, I said to myself, this is one of the greatest films I've ever seen. It's one of the best, probably the best documentary I've ever seen. I've seen other films that I like just as much, but at the time that was the emotions I was getting, and it made me laugh, it made me sing along to the music, it really touched me, and I must admit that it did make me cry at one point. There was tears, genuine tears at one point. And this, struggling to make this documentary film, Malik Bendjelloul was struggling for cash and funding for it, and he was editing the film on a laptop in his kitchen, and he was even finishing some of the scenes shooting with his mobile phone. He was even shooting some of the scenes using his mobile phone, using little apps on there to create some effects, and he even actually used that in the film. And Simon Chin, the British producer, he liked what he was seeing, liked the story, and he eventually came on board, and Simon Chin and his production team, they actually produced, what was it called? Man on Wire, the award-winning film. So the film eventually got made. This was through years of getting it done, and Malik Bendjelloul actually went on a 6-month tour. He travelled to South America and South Africa, and this was just to find stories for subjects to make a film about. And this was his favourite story that he came across in an old record store with this guy Sugar. Now I'll read some of the quotes on the front of this DVD. The greatest documentary ever made. Astonishing. See it. Unforgettable. Fascinating, a must-see, heartwarming, superb, life-affirming, extraordinarily moving. And that was why I said moving, definitely. And it's a music-driven film, so wonderful music, and it was an absolute crime how people never knew about this man. Everyone knows about him now after this film and his music. I won't tell you exactly what happens in it, but just go into this with an open mind. Do not look up the story on the internet, do not look up the movie, just sit there and watch it, Searching for Sugar Man, and prepare to be thrilled, amazed and fascinated. It has got some critics because apparently Rodriguez was big in Australia as well, and he actually toured there one time as well, and there's no mention of that, so that is a bit disappointing. I don't know why they didn't mention the whole Australia thing. They just, maybe Bendjelloul wasn't aware that he was big in Australia, but South Africa. He was huge and he was a superstar. What adds to the emotion of this film as well, Malik Bendjelloul, who suffered from clinical depression, and throughout the filmmaking process of this film he actually went into a deep depression and didn't know if he was ever going to get the film made. So amazingly, they won the Oscar, they won the Academy Award for Best Picture. People talking about one of the greatest documentary films ever made. Sadly, a year later, just 2 years ago, 2014, Malik Bendjelloul passed away as he took his own life. And you know what? I could see in interviews with him, there's a sadness in his eyes. I can tell. I know it. I just think, what was going through? He had the world at his feet. He just made this wonderful film. He was in the middle of making another one. He was talking about making a fictional film, but something was there that just makes all the remarkable. And when you watch this film and you think what's gone through his head as well. And Rodriguez, he's quite a character, and he was a bit of a wandering soul in Detroit. That's what people describe him as. There's some nice animated bits in the film as well, and I find this film very inspiring. And I'm making my own film as well, a documentary film about a local busker named Fast Eddie, and he is a wonderful character as well, and he's a bit of a wandering spirit, wandering through the streets, playing his harmonica. And I've took a lot of inspiration from this, and it's not one of the same type of film at all. It's just because this is all about music, it's all about an individual, a talented musician and character, and that's what it responds to me. And I do love the music involved as well. On this Blu-ray disc, there's a brilliant 30-minute making of documentary, and it's really good. You know what, that's a brilliant film in itself. And there's a commentary with Malik Bendjelloul and Rodriguez on it as well. I've not actually listened to the commentary, but that would be good too. Rock and roll's greatest untold story. Yeah, if you want to check out Searching for Sugar Man. I promise you, some people are not into watching documentaries, but watch this, go into it with an open mind, and just discover the myth or the legend that is Rodriguez. I mean, if you liked Bob Dylan, that type of music, people say this guy was on a different level and as good as, if not better than, Bob Dylan. Anyways, that was just a few words on Searching for Sugar Man, and it's very moving and it's worth checking out if you've not seen it before. Thanks a lot. Bye now.